Hello, everybody. It's the Gin and Tonic Show, and it's 1800 p.m. UTC. And because it's UTC, there is a time change in most of the world. I think it is by now that it's the last Sunday of October that the clocks are changed for some odd reason, which everybody knows is stupid, but we still do it for some odd reason. I don't know why. But anyway, we are putting this as a UTC show so that everybody can participate no matter what country you are in. And this is, I hope, the right solution for everybody, and I hope a good time. Oh, there are people. I thought I was going to be alone today. I thought everybody was going to miss the time change and I was going to be here on my own. So, okay, come for the discussion, stay for the triggering. Exactly. Hi there. How can I trigger people? I don't know. Oh, I know how to trigger people. Atheist. I think that's all it is. Okay, welcome to the Gin and Tonic Show. If you want to participate, it's incredibly easy. Just go to your browser and then you type in there godless.ch. If you want to participate here and you want to voice your opinion or something not in the chat or just listening, you just enter hangout.godless.ch. And this is not a Muslim show. In other words, there's no censorship or something. You really need to misbehave before you are chucked out here. So what I do is I try to provide a platform for people to go and, there's more people, excellent, to discuss Islam, because it's very difficult to discuss Islam on an objective level. Because if you go to, what's this, Pal Talk or something? Was it Talk Pal? No, I think it's Pal Talk. Then you will find that there's a lot of censorship. If you go on YouTube, you try and go into a discussion, you get censored. A lot of videos by Muslim apologists, censored. I don't know why they are so afraid. Anyway, we try and change all that. This is why we're here. So just as I am an a-racist, an a-philatelist, or something, I'm also an atheist. I think the expression is so stupid. Just as atheism, which I think does not exist. But I will take them on and I will say, yes, I'm an atheist and I do this so much that you could call me practicing atheism. I don't care. As long as we can discuss this, as long as we can talk about this, as long as there is a dialogue. This is the main thing. It's a pity that so few Muslims have the guts to come here. It's all... If you go to a video, that one of my videos where I allow comments, people say, you are scared of somebody like Shabir, so you will not come to Hyde Park. Well, I'm not going to go and book a plane just to go to Hyde Park for a discussion with Shabir when we have this working platform where anybody can come and chat. If you want to have a one-on-one, tell me in advance, and I will let everybody know that there's going to be no discussion, but there's going to be a one-on-one for I don't know, for half an hour, and then we let the others in, or whatever the case may be. I'm open for discussions. Now, I'm somebody who does not want to sell any other gods, any other religion, any other prophets, any other messengers, nothing. I'm not interested in that. I'm just interested in facts. I'm interested in data. I'm interested in establishing why and what and how, and if not, why not, we have Islam in the form that we have it today. And I just watched another video, which is quite strange, where somebody is trying to tell us that Muhammad married Aisha, but she was much older than 6. Why? I mean, we have all these hadiths, we have all these sayings saying he married Aisha when he was 6, and that's the end of story. So why do you want to discuss this? Why do you still want to pretend like she was older? Why? I don't know. All right. So from a non-believer point of view, in other words, somebody who simply does not have a belief in gods, somebody who does not know. Well, nobody knows whether there are gods or not. So this whole agnostic can just fall away. So do I believe in God? No. And I'm looking at Islam the way that it is. In other words, if I try and identify all the different elements of the Quran, for example, I find that 1/3 of the verses, roughly, approximately, are concerned with the coexistence of human beings in today's environment, which is a political goal. So at the end of the day, first and foremost, Islam is a political ideology. And we need to recognize that, and we need to treat it exactly as that. And if I am talking about Islam, I am not talking about individual Muslims, where most Muslims are better than their God. And that is what we need to accept, and what we need to simply acknowledge. Okay, we're going to be looking at today. What we're going to have is, I'm hoping that Alasa will show up today, because he said he's going to talk about Ashura today. What we normally do is, after the definitions of Islam and non-believers, what we normally do is we go to apologetics, or we talk about different things. Video of the week, talking about apologetics. Last week, we had, okay, in London, in the UK, in London, we have Hyde Park. In Hyde Park, you have Speaker's Corner, where we have Muslims, and then people go there and talk to these Muslims. And now, last week, I had a video of the week where Speaker's Corner UK, which is the channel name, this is Rob, and Rob went there and was recorded talking to some people. And this I declared as video of the week, because I found the video to be extremely challenging, let's put it like that. So Rob and I got together and we commented on a video, and we went and we discussed this, what the people are talking about, and we discussed how we can, well, address what was being talked about in this video. And the video was 45 minutes, and this became a huge long video. I think it was 2 hours or something. And I put this up on the Imam Son channel, where I normally deposit everything which has to do comments on debates and things, because Rob debated two guys from EF Dawa on, I think it was on quantum physics and all sorts of weird things, all these things that they don't understand. And this is why we then commented on what they were saying and showed that how bad the cosmological argument is and all these issues. So this is what I am declaring today now, the video of the week, which is our commenting the video of the week of last week, where we show how stupid this is. So then we have the misconception of the week, which I've already touched on, which is the marriage of young Aisha. Now I'm going to put all these links into the description box later on, because this is now, it's called the marriage of young Aisha, a Muslim response. And I think this is by IERA, the Muslim Debate Initiative. And this is a speech of a lady from, is it from Australia or New Zealand? I can't remember, somewhere down under. And she now argues that we need to reassess what Qur'an, what Hadith, what Sirah, what all these sources say, because it's not really that sure that Aisha was really 6 years old when she got married, even though we have authentic Hadith, we have authentic this, we have authentic this, we have authentic that. But still people want to make her older and then come up with all sorts of excuses. Now, I don't really understand why Muslims do that. I can't understand why Muslims don't take ownership of their own texts and simply say, okay, that's what it says in the text, and there you go. That's the way that it is. So, yes, Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6 years old. Okay, that's what people did in those days, and he did it at the time. And yes, today we are different. Today we don't take Muhammad as a role model, and today we don't take the morality of this God in the Quran as a guidance for our moral compass, if you want to call it that. So the moral compass that we have today is slightly different than that of 1,000 years ago. So we don't marry 6-year-old children anymore, unless that is, if you're a Muslim. Because a lot of Muslims are still today taking Muhammad as a role model. And because they're taking Muhammad as a role model, they are marrying children. Like I said, I showed last week, the last show, that that there are still people who are marrying off children. And I think that's terrible. And I don't think that's what we should be doing in today's day and age. And that is why Muhammad is not a role model for the 21st century. And we have to accept it. And I don't understand why Muslims can't accept this. If you show them authentic hadith where he encourages his men to rape female slaves without worrying about their prices in the slave market, without worrying about them becoming pregnant and things like that, that is not something that we do. We do not rape slaves, female slaves today. At least I hope so. So this is what I wanted to do, because the misconception, people then say, well, Aisha was older because at some battle you were not allowed to be if you were not of the minimum age, and then a few years later, and then there is some hadith which says that she was seen there and this is why, and then I don't understand why people then resort to this when it is quite obvious that this is wrong, that this is being disingenuous, this is deceptive, it is lying, and they're opening themselves up to all these discussions. I do not understand why, especially in Speaker's Corner. This is now the latest. I don't know why you have this phase where now everybody's going to Speaker's Corner, and suddenly there are hundreds of videos coming from Speaker's Corner. I don't know why this sudden interest comes in there, because you can't really discuss anything on Speaker's Corner, because you can't substantiate anything. And there are people who are saying, well, this guy wrote, I don't know, he wrote X, this guy wrote Y, this guy wrote Z. So what? If you say that somebody else wrote something about Muhammad, the Quran, whatever it is, you don't know what he wrote, exactly what he wrote, and you don't know why he wrote it. You don't know on what he wrote is based on. You can't verify any of that. So it's very loose. Okay, so we've got end of the line Joel. Hi there, and I hope I've triggered enough people by now. It's 2 a.m. Vikadi is saying, oh my goodness, okay. Tired of explaining atheist position to theists. Yeah. But it's still necessary. There are still people who don't understand what an atheist is. And that's Samira says, hi peeps, hi Samira. And theists take their belief personally. Absolutely, most Muslims think Muhammad is like Buddha, unfortunately, but it's not. Lava movement is like MLM. What is MLM? MLM. Vika, can you explain MLM? Am I not getting the joke? No, I'm not. Okay, I don't see Alassa here yet, so let me go for some news quickly, because what happened last time is that Thunderous said that there was evidence that Jesus existed, but he couldn't provide any, so he says, we'll go to Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jehovah's Witnesses will explain everything to us. So, okay, then I went to Jehovah's Witnesses, and I pulled this. This is here. So this is this pamphlet by Jehovah's Witnesses. Did Jesus really exist? Hang on, I can make this a little bit bigger, like so. I don't know if you can read this now. And this is now the number 5 from 2016. That Thunderous was referring to, and he said this is now evidence that Jesus existed. But all they do is they give even less than the usual stuff, okay? Because they're saying, well, Michael Grant says, well, you can't reject this, and Rudolf Bultmann said that there's no doubt, and Will Durant says, have invented so lofty an ethics, so inspiring a vision, would be a miracle, and so on. And Albert Einstein, I am a Jew, but I am enthralled by the luminous figure of the Nazarene. And he says no one can read the Gospels without feeling the actual presence of Jesus. His personality pulsates in every word. No myth is filled with such life. What does this tell us? Nothing. Sweet nothing. And this is what we need to accept. And then they go into history, and then they go into exactly what I said. I mean, Tacitus, Suetonius, Pliny. Now, the funny thing is, all these people lived way later than this Jesus, when he was allegedly to have existed between, well, nobody really knows, between -10 and +10 as birth date, and up to the year 20 or 30 or something like this. And so they lived way later, and they don't mention Jesus. Tacitus is in Rome. He's nowhere near Palestine or Jerusalem or whatever you want to call this region, this area there. He's not. He's nowhere near it. And Suetonius, come on, the same thing. Pliny the Younger, same thing. Pliny, he was in Turkey. Ah, there it says in modern Turkey when he wrote this. And then you have Josephus. They don't even mention the TF, the Testimonium Flavianum, which everybody knows is a fake. They don't even mention it. So they just say, well, somebody called Jesus. Yeah, but not the Jesus that we're talking about. The brother of James. Yeah, but I'm sorry, he was the son of the guardian of some whatever. And the Talmud does not mention Jesus in every way. So all you are left with is evidence. They call this evidence. I call this claims from the Bible. Because all you have is that somebody was born sometime, somewhere, and then he was like a god, but he died, and blah, blah, blah. And then they say, why does it matter? So, no, there is nothing here that even remotely would be justified in calling it evidence. So I'm sorry, it's a pity that he's not here. But Sandra said there is evidence. Now, where is this evidence? All we have is hearsay. All we have is some people saying the Christians existed. Now, that Christians existed, does that mean that Jesus physically existed? No, it doesn't. The same way as Moses, there's no evidence that Moses existed. There's no evidence that you know, like a journey from Alexandria to, let's say, Jerusalem took people maybe a week or something like this. And in the Bible, it's like 40 years. And it's 2 million people. We don't have that. There's nothing that would indicate that. So I'm sorry, there is nothing here that I would call evidence in any which way. Okay, next I chose, why is it always going wide when a page which is like a page of lists. And this is 10 this, 10 fantastic facts this, and so they have 10 ridiculous fatwas, which I thought is quite funny. Oh shit, did anybody say something? No, this is just GP coughing. Oh, okay, I thought I heard something in the background.
Well, I'm just trying to quickly read up about Jesus's tomb. They've opened it up, apparently.
They've opened up a tomb?
Yeah, which Christians have believed to be Jesus's tomb.
Why would they believe that this is Jesus's tomb?
Well, from what I understand from Tom Holland, there was a Byzantine queen or grandmother who had a total fixation on Christianity. She went to Jerusalem and she started naming things left, right, and centre as the original cross or the holy relic this and the holy relic that. And she probably said this was Jesus's tomb. I'm pretty certain she was the one who went around saying where he was crucified and stuff like that.
Great.
It was a huge tourist.
Two other things that immediately jumped out at me when you were going on about the quote-unquote proofs of Jesus was Albert Einstein and that bit from the Talmud. I mean, as far as Einstein goes, it might be in the same vein that the famous poet of the New Romantics, Lord Byron, there were these superstitious people who honestly thought that he was harboring vampires in his house. And so, according to popular folk tales, they actually went round to his place, banged on the door, and demanded that he hand them over. And Byron, absolutely trolling the fuck out of them, said, I don't particularly like vampires, but I'm not going to betray their secrets. And that was just what immediately came to mind with Einstein. It's like, oh, there's no doubt about this myth. That could have just been Einstein trolling. But with that bit with the Talmud, where if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've looked it up. It says something about, you know, like, oh, let's just do everything we can, or let's pray to God that we never again produce someone like Jesus. You know, someone who falsely claims to be the Messiah, who comes up with this and that. But there's no historical basis for it. In fact, I believe in the Talmud, it says that Jesus was hanged. So it doesn't even talk about a crucifixion. It just it just says to me that they're commenting on a story that they weren't present for. It'd be like me commenting on the latest episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the point. So I don't know why people bring this up again and again and again, and they can't accept, okay, yes, there is no evidence. There's no evidence for your God either. So, I mean, why try and create some sort of evidence around this? You can't. It's based on faith. The God is faith, and then the respective recipient of whatever text is not far away from that either. This is something that you need to accept. You can't have like a little bit of truth somewhere, somehow, which then is like seen like one step towards reality of this God. It doesn't work. So, yeah. Okay, top 10 bizarre or ridiculous fatwas. And this, well, these 10 points is actually quite good, because what they're saying is that there is no religious authority in Islam. So any kind of scholar, and they put this in inverted commas, can create a fatwa, and that is so true. Anybody who says he studied Islam, anybody, especially people with a PhD in Islam, which I think is like a PhD in Cinderella or I don't know what, the Little Red Riding Hood, then they can issue a fatwa. So a fatwa can be anything. It can be like this idiot from the Grand Mufti of, I think, from Saudi Arabia, who said that Earth is stationary in the middle and everything else rotates around it, and everybody who declares anything else is an atheist. And of course, we all know what an atheist is in Saudi Arabia. It's a terrorist. So I don't understand why there is no declaration that says, no, the Quran is not quite accurate. Let us take a stance and say, it is the way that it is, and that is that Earth is not stationary, but the sun is the center of our solar system, and there are millions and billions of other solar systems where we potentially have human beings or life or whatever you want to call it. I don't know why they don't do that. Then you have satanic verses. Now, Salman Rushdie came up with this thing, and he wrote a book about this, about something that everybody knows. In Surah 57, there is this thing where Muhammad apparently received some sentences which were not from God but the devil. And this is why they're called satanic verses. Now, he wrote a book about this, which is actually quite harmless, but it exposes the superstitions in Islam. And therefore, the boss in the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Ayatollah, and in those days it was Khomeini, he then issued this fatwa which said, I want Salman Rushdie dead because he wrote about something embarrassing in Islam. And I think it was 5 million or something like this dollars that he would grant to anybody who killed Salman Rushdie. Now, the funny thing is, this did not die out. This is not that somebody had said, look, this happened 20 years ago. We're not going to be talking about this, or 30 years ago. We're not going to talk about this anymore. Let's just let bygones be bygones. No, they renew it all the time. It is being renewed. And the guy here is making a very good point. You need to understand that the majority of Muslims are illiterate, so they never even read the book. And he's saying that in Iran, 24, in other words, a quarter of the people were illiterate and couldn't even read it. So hardly anybody that hears about this fatwa that they should kill Salman Rushdie could read the book. So they are going to go around, and people have tried killing him. His translator in Japan was killed, and publisher and all sorts of people associated with the book have had attacks on their life. And most Muslims haven't even read the book. Then you have things like tomboys, where in Malaysia, because girls are doing sports and things, well, they're not allowed to do that because this is against the central tenets of Islam, that girls can't do sports and can't do that. And then another one from This is quite funny. You have to kill Mickey Mouse.
Stop. Hello?
Yeah, listening.
Could you scroll up a second? Okay, where does it say? A Malaysian fatwa banning tomboys, which branded any girls who act unladylike as violating un-Islamic tenets. Fortunately, the as yet undefined punishment for girls in t-shirts and jeans hasn't been incorporated into Sharia law. I just, oh god, that's amazing.
And what they are doing is they're contrasting this with a study which was issued in the University of Massachusetts, which reported that girls who play sports have higher self-esteem and are less likely to enter into abusive or remain in abusive relationships.
The interesting thing there, where it says that this hasn't been incorporated into Sharia yet, you could actually make the argument that it does. I can't remember if it's Qur'an or Hadith, but it talks about how Muhammad basically cursed people he didn't like Muhammad, or Allah through Muhammad curses the effeminate man and the butch woman, and
Hadith, that's not Quran.
But the only group he doesn't seem to have a problem with is lipstick lesbians.
No, they don't mention them because I mean,
probably because Muhammad got hard on thinking about them.
We've talked about sex and Islam and what happens in reality. So yeah, but anyway, this one is now saying Mickey Mouse needs to be killed because all mice are bad and Mickey Mouse is a mouse and therefore needs to be beheaded. So Tom and Jerry did also put a hit on Jerry from Tom and Jerry. But it's, they're loonies. I don't understand this. And they say that this guy used to be a diplomat at the Saudi embassy in Washington. And he made the remarks on Arab television after he was asked to give Islam's teaching on mice. Kill Mickey Mouse.
Well, there's a lot of people throughout the world that don't particularly like Mickey Mouse. They consider him to be an employee of the CIA and Coca-Cola.
Okay, I haven't heard that one before.
Oh, no, it was something when I was growing up as a kid. When you had American influences going into countries, the first thing you started to see was Coca-Cola and Mickey Mouse. Then sometime later in the 70s, it was found out that these two brands had been co-opted by the CIA to sort of like promote America.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, possible, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a true story, that, and you'll find quite a few musicians writing songs about when they found out about this, how they didn't like what was going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just joined because the YouTube stream quality is horrible. Oh, really? But I'm not doing anything different. I wonder why. Because I'm not using Minicam or anything. I'm still going normal, standard, straightforward. Strange. Okay, then emoticons. Well, we've had this topic. Emoticons are not allowed because they resemble human beings, and you're not allowed to resemble a human being. And then, of course, along with the rest of the sports, football is outlawed, and this I've seen so many times, especially in Iran. They have the Islamic Republic of Iran. They've had so many fatwas on football and things like that. In Saudi, they've even in the Arab Emirates, they've declared it un-Islamic because it's guys running around in shorts, and that is also un-Islamic.
Do you know it was actually banned in England as well, football?
Are you joking?
No. It was considered treasonous to play football because people who play football were no longer doing the traditional sport of archery. And they found that because they weren't doing archery, they no longer had a conscripted army.
Oh, wow. So everybody was playing football.
Yeah, they actually banned it for quite a few years.
And this is also a conspiracy theory because you have vaccines, and polio is now on the rise again because of this vaccine thing, because they're saying it's actually a conspiracy to make Muslims sterile.
Well, they probably got that off David Icke's firm.
Yeah, probably.
Well, we've been talking about this for years. Like, this conspiracy has been around for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this is from February 2009. So then, of course, you have this thing that I always say, that instead of discussing on how to responsibly react to stem cell research, they're discussing whether the wife is allowed to lie naked next to her husband at night. And this is exactly this discussion. Okay, are you allowed to be nude during sex? I mean, why the fuck would people worry about other people's sex life? Why can't they leave them alone? Why can't everybody do what they want if they are together with a partner and it's consensual? Who cares? I don't understand this. Why people have all this concern with how other people have sex? Why is it always religions, especially gods, who are so upset with sex? It's frightening, really. Then I can't read this. This is so funny. Oh, God. Okay, let me try. There's a hadith, or I think there's actually 2 or 3, where somebody found something to drink and it was Muhammad's bedpan. And then Muhammad said, well, then you will be cured from all your illnesses because my urine is holy. And therefore, people reckon that drinking Muhammad's urine is a blessing. And that is why when Muhammad says that camel piss is like medicine, you still have people today drinking urine, camel urine.
Well, I think that's also supported by the Americans as well. It's the only thing that can explain their beer.
You are evil. Yeah, that's all that Budweiser does, exactly. So anyway, this is quite strange. But then you have, of course, people like Dawa Man making jokes about non-Muslims drinking, what was it, semen or something? Oh, the father semen. There's it. Yeah.
I think I was just about atheists. Atheists don't believe in a god, yet they wouldn't want to drink their dad's sperm, but they're atheists, so why not?
Well, he wrote. Did he do it originally for Jacqueline Glenn? Because I remember they were having.
No, she commented on this.
No. She did a parody of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they were having a spiff at the time, the two of them, having a bit of a cat fight.
Well, the thing is that a man, a Muslim man, like Dawa man, you know, he can't handle a girl making fun of him.
Is he still a Muslim? Because last time you were talking about him, you said he was having a crisis of faith.
Was it Dawa man?
I thought you said he had.
He actually found a woman willing to marry him.
Yeah, I thought you said that he had discovered that the Qur'an had different translations.
No. That was Yasser Qadi.
All right. Sorry, I thought.
And not different translations. There were different versions of the Quran. This was not that he was doubting the entire faith. That he was just doubting the statement in the Quran that there is only one version and that God is looking after this one version of the Quran. This is what Yasser Qadi was doubting. And then, of course, breastfeeding. I think everybody knows about this, that if you have a man and a woman who are not allowed to be together alone, if they're working together or doing whatever, they're not allowed, they need to have a chaperone there. But if she gives him her boobs and he can nibble on the boobs a bit, then they can do whatever they want, because then he is considered to be a mahram, somebody who is trusted with this woman, even if they are both adults, and then they may be close to one another and even alone. Well, there you go.
Well, the funny thing about that is I actually came across some Muslims arguing about whether or not it was valid if the man didn't have a... I can barely even say it. If the man didn't have a full feeding.
Yeah. How many liters is before you're allowed? And they will discuss this.
Now, I'm reading about fatwas after trying to look up a comedian who's got a fatwa put against him. I couldn't find out the comedian's name, but I know the fatwa is about trying to interrupt or disrupt his comedy show. But I did discover in the Hindu Times, or the Hindustan Times, a fatwa that was issued against Kenya, which I thought was brilliant. Now, do you know what they did? Do you know what the Kenyans did? No? Well, they built a mini Kaaba. They got pictures of this flipping thing, a little mini Kaaba, and they said you can't have a mini Kaaba because it's un-Islamic. Anyway, I'll link the Hindustan's web page of this, and maybe you'll be able to link this little mini Kaaba for me. There you go.
Since Stop Spamming is just gone for some reason, are we still live on YouTube? Is it still recording?
Yes, I think it still keeps recording, even though he's disappeared for a bit. So anyway, they had this.
I find this so funny. I'm having a flashback to a Big Bang Theory episode I saw where like Sheldon was questioning like his idea for sorting out the Israel-Palestine conflict. What about you build like a mock Jerusalem somewhere in the Texas desert? You know, like build like a replica Wailing Wall.
Oh right, yeah. Well, Texas seems to be the right place to do those sort of things, because wasn't it all these T-shirts lying in the desert, which they thought was actually ISIS prayer mats?
There were T-shirts in the desert. They thought there were
ISIS prayer mats, and the Muslims
in the deserts of Texas.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, I've not heard of this. Can you elaborate?
Look it up. Round about the time Obama's second presidential run, it was coming out from the GOP Tea Party people that Muslims were going through Mexico and trying to smuggle it themselves into America to do jihad, and the proof of this was all these discovered prayer mats that were found in the desert. Well, it turned out these prayer mats were actually T-shirts which had been left on the ground. It's crazy. These teabaggers believe anything.
Also, you've got to wonder why they try and come through Mexico instead of Canada.
Actually, I heard that they were going to build a wall in Canada. Doesn't necessarily need to be very high, because the Americans can't climb that well. Are you back? Stop spamming.
Well, yes and no.
Can you see the link I had of the Hindustan Times?
No, at the moment I'm trying to get back to Gin and Tonic because I cannot stop the show like this.
I was just hoping you might be able to print or show the picture of the little tiny mini Kaaba. I mean, it's only about the size of a man. It's only that tall. It's quite cute.
Okay, let me
what
try
is
this
the
again over here.
Population?
I'm sorry, you were
to get out of here and then try again.
What is the actual Muslim population of Kenya, though, like percentage-wise? Is it like roughly half, or is it?
I have no idea. You'd have to Google and look it up on Wiki. They tend to have population breakdowns now, but you can't trust the figures when it comes to Muslim populations. They seem to try and inflate it by large amounts, because then they get some kind of political right to get their religion recognized in the country that they're in. So you just, it's like, well, you look at their inheritance laws, the mathematics that goes behind that defies quantum physics.
I suppose there's also the percentage that in those countries will call themselves Muslims, but if they were in like the Western world, might call themselves ex-Muslims.
No, I think cultural Muslims would be better. I mean, ex-Muslims.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, like, we are talking about a vastly different society. You know, funnily enough, my uncle went to Kenya a few years ago, and he was telling me that, like, they weren't even aware that it was possible to not believe in a God. He just said, like, you don't have to believe in the same God they do. You can believe in a different God, have a different faith. They get that, but it doesn't even occur to them that you cannot have a religion and not have a belief in higher powers. So, I mean, when you think of things like that, it really does take on a different context.
Didn't you have the same problem when you were growing up? The fact that religion was so embedded in literally everything, every part of your life. No?
It was really, well, you're on about me personally? Yeah,
just as your generation.
With me personally, it was a really weird thing, because like my grandparents were Roman Catholic, and they had 5 children, and out of those 5 children, only one of them kept the faith. The other 4 just became atheists. In fact, one of my uncles apparently pissed off my grandparents by referring to Christianity as witchcraft. And but the very interesting thing is, I actually grew up, spent like the formative years of my life in a very religious environment. Like all my friends and their parents, my teachers at school, everyone just said, yeah, there is a God. My grandparents did. And the only person who ever actually challenged that was my mother. So it was a bit odd.